We are live wired. What happened to my YouTube? YouTube just spazzed out on me? Come on, man. What happened to my other? Come on. Hey, TikTok. I'm live here on TikTok, but I'm also live. Alright, well, we are live here on TikTok then. Well, that's the way it goes. I was just reading an Elon Musk tweet, and he was talking about taxation. He was, the old debate, right? Do you tax the rich or do you lower taxes? And the theory behind taxing the rich is that there's all this debt, so you tax the rich, to try to pay off the debt. And the theory behind lowering taxes is that when you lower taxes, it encourages investment, and that actually raises the amount of money that flows into the economy, and actually you wind up collecting more taxes. But Elon Musk was saying, he basically said that, if you taxed the rich at 100%, it would still only, create a small dent into the debt. So you have to tax everyone, is what Musk was saying. And what someone like Musk won't tell you, who appears to be very based, right? He appears to be the common man billionaire, but he understands what I'm talking about here, and that's why I don't trust these people, is that there's no paying off the debt, because there's more debt than there is actual money in circulation in the world, right? Can't pay off the debt, and they know this. The financial system is broken, which is why they have to keep manufacturing all these events, whether it's wars in the Middle East, whether it's what happened in March of 2020. These are all manufactured, kind of a slow drip management of a financial system that's collapsing. And they can't tell the public that the financial system is in that situation because it's only propped up by people's faith in the system, right? That's why, lost connection. All right, I got my connection back. Yeah, so he's a hype man. So when he took office, America's going to be great again. The economy is going to be bigger and stronger than ever before. When he took office, America's going to be great again. The economy is going to be bigger and stronger than ever before. People believe that, and then money flows back, and I'm just having some connection problems. Is it choppy? Can you guys see me, or am I cutting out? Come on, Lulu. Lulu's my dog. She's my dog. All right. And obviously all my claims about the debt, allegedly. Love this hat. All right. It's my favorite hat I think I've ever had. All right, I'm going to post up right here. Hold on, guys. Let me get some cushions. So that I'm not sitting on hard metal. I don't know why. Yesterday the internet was so good over there under the gazebo, and I just love it. So I tried to get away with it, but today it's not cooperating, and it is what it is. So, how you guys doing this morning? Everyone having a good morning? Oh, man. Let me post this up here. So today has been a very exciting morning. It's really been a very exciting week, and I'm so looking forward. I'm just going to shut that door. I don't need them. They don't need to hear me bantering on. All right, there you go. And really, 2022 it's going to be such a great year, and I'm so excited about it. And I've gone on my journey, and a couple years ago, I started the Classical Learner Homeschooling Company, and I was really just doing one-on-one parent consultations. And I had the privilege of doing these consultations with people, not just in America, but all over the world, amazing people. And we did some really amazing things with their children just through following their interests. Some of the stories I tell all the time on this stream, but 5-year-old boys building benches for their church, or 8-year-old boys actually starting a quote unquote a business in which they're changing people's oil and being paid to do it. And really just focusing on showing parents how they could follow the interest of their children, use that interest to develop skills in their children, which is so important. Skill development. It's, one of my biggest grievances, my biggest problems with the public school system is that when an 18-year-old graduates, they don't have any, well, at least they don't feel like they have any value in the real world, and that's a real travesty. They graduate from high school and, they're not capable of working with their hands. They don't learn that in school. So they can't do construction, they can't do carpentry, right? They don't know engineering. They're not computer coders. They might have took a class in coding, but one class. It's not like, it hasn't been a lifestyle. They don't know computer coding. They're photography. They might have took a class in photography, but they don't, they're not proficient photographers, videographers. We're like, videography is such a cool skill. I'll tell you a story about a consultation I did this week where we're going to teach a 9-year-old videography. I was a curriculum to teach my 5-year-old to recognize propaganda, but everything, yeah, well, you're in the right place, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. In fact, I wrote these books, the Cubs to Bears books, right? I mean, that's what this is. It teaches children about propaganda, right? Peanut Trap, free speech, social media, can't say that word because they, when I say that word, I get hit with that word. Isn't that crazy? So one of my biggest problems with the public school system is that children aren't learning skills. And it could be any skills, any combination. Oh, yes, I am the one that writes them. That's funny. I always get a good laugh when people don't know. They wind up here and they don't know I'm the author of those books. But I don't care what skills your children learn. It doesn't have to be this or that. It could be any combination, but photography, videography, art, music, construction, interior design, architecture, computer coding, engineering, anything that allows your child to take what's in their mind and produce it in physical reality can be used to do really cool things in the world. And that's what's not happening in the public school system. So I started the Classical Learner Company, and I had the privilege of working with these families all over the world and setting up their homeschools and really spreading my philosophy, my 3-tier philosophy that an education should prioritize the process of learning over critical thinking, skill development from as young as possible, and entrepreneurial experience. I call it the 6-month rule. So let's say a school semester is 6 months. Well, once every 6 months, your child should do something that is either entrepreneurial or entrepreneurial adjacent. I don't care what that is. It can be whatever. It can be simple as a lemonade stand when they're little babies, right? And then obviously we work our way up to doing more complex type of entrepreneurial activities as they grow older. But the purpose is to develop a mindset so that as they get older, they see opportunities where other people don't, and they have the experience with taking a product, taking a service, bringing it to market, marketing that service, selling, all the things that go along with running a business on a very basic level, right? And as they get older, they can start to do more complex things. So I had the privilege of working with families all over the world and helping them and spread my philosophy, which is, it's rooted in some of the great educators like Dorothy Sayers and the Lost Tools of Learning. Everyone should read her book. John Taylor Gatto, who in my opinion is the most influential educator of the 20th century, right? John Taylor Gatto, who everyone should read his books, Dumbing Us Down, The Weapons of Mass Instruction. And my life goal, my purpose is to try to carry on the legacy of these people and to walk in their footsteps and hopefully add to the field of education in a way that, when I reach the pearly gates and I talk to people like John Taylor Gatto, that they would be proud of the work that I do. So I had the privilege of doing that. And then last year, I wanted to expand upon that and I was able to build out Homeschools Connected, which is essentially my private app, really, essentially, but my private homeschool community. And all the families that joined had access to all of the curriculum research that I've done, access to myself, access to each other and the community. And that was really cool, right? Because that was a big step forward in my grassroots freedom-oriented business, right? Because my books, they're about freedom. They're about teaching children how to live free, to avoid the manipulation and the propaganda, right? Even like to live free. They're to introduce children to financial literacy. Like I talked about at the beginning of the stream, I talked about Elon Musk's tweet, right? And he was talking about taxation and, you know, should there be higher taxes or lower taxes? Should the rich pay more? And his tweet basically said that if you taxed all the billionaires at 100%, you know, it wouldn't even put a dent in the debt. So you have to tax everyone. And, you know, I'm pointing out that I understand that that is fundamentally dishonest, even at that level. I'm not saying either side is right. What I'm saying is something you don't hear from either side, is that there is actually more debt than there is money in circulation. You can't pay back the debt. The system is insolvent. And everything they've been doing in the last 20 years has been to try to manage that so that the public doesn't lose faith in, you know, the full credit of the United States government and the dollar and all these currencies around the world, right? I mean, in The Bear from Jekyll Island, sorry if that's loud, guys. The Bear from Jekyll Island, right, is living history, Charlotte Mason style, right? And it goes over the true history of the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Which is like the core of the American financial system, right? And when they put together the Federal Reserve Bank, it created something called fractional reserve banking, right? So like if you go to the bank and you give them $10, if you deposit $10 in the bank, they could turn around and loan out $90 to someone else, right? Well, how can they do that if they only had $10? It's called fractional reserves. They only need to have a fraction of what they loan out, right? And they basically just print that money as they give out a loan. So they're loaning out money that doesn't exist. That money then comes into existence, but then they're charging interest on that money. You see? So where does the interest come from? There is more debt in the world than there is actual money. And these people that argue this left-right stuff, they understand that. Well, I don't want to speak for everyone, but someone like Elon Musk understands that. So that's why when I see that, I'm like, you know, I like a lot of things you say, Elon, but I don't trust you. I catch you in a lot of these situations. I won't get too into that, but all right. My 17-year-old doesn't have initiative for entrepreneurship. I don't have much experience myself. So that's tough, especially at that age, because they're advanced. What is your 17-year-old interested in? What is your 17-year-old he, she, I don't know. Elon Musk understands because all his money is fake debt. Yes, he sure does understand. Yeah, I'm not getting too into Musk, but he sure does understand. Yeah, what is your 17-year-old interested in? What I try to do with children when I do this consultation, like video games, is okay, so what you want to try to do is find a way for him to start doing something entrepreneurial based around the video games, right? So like, you know, when they're younger, I say get them involved in computer coding and then have them start building out their own websites and doing stuff like that. But he's 17 already, so that could be a little bit tricky. But you want to follow his interest and kind of use that to guide him to do something entrepreneurial. I don't know. What ideas do you guys have for a 17-year-old who's really interested in gaming? 17-year-old who's really interested in gaming. You know, he could write, he could write books about gaming and call it like the cheat code. And, you know, they could be all different tricks about how to be better at these games, stuff like that. Yeah, NFTs, right, that a lot of the kids are getting involved with now. I actually had my nephew, who is 10 years old, texted me last night. I got to get back to him, asking me about these NFTs. He said, Uncle Brett, What are these NFTs? I'm thinking about getting into them. And I think that's great. You know, I think they're nonsense, but I think I see that entrepreneurial mindset developing in him, and I'll say, hey, we're going to run with that. And by the way, just because they're nonsense doesn't mean you can't make a lot of money on them. I just think they're nonsense. All right, my son uploads the games he plays to his YouTube channel. So then he can monetize the YouTube channel, and he could also use it to he could use the YouTube channel traffic as a funnel to get people to a website that he builds. And then on the website, he could sell things like shirts and stuff like that he designs that are related to the video games that he plays. So like that's the type of thing you can do. A lot of this stuff you have to think outside the box and get creative. But, you know, if you start pushing your child in some direction with entrepreneurial stuff, if they start to embrace it, they'll start to see opportunities, or you'll start to see them that, you know, off the top of my head could be a little bit tricky. I homeschool my kids and teaching them cursive. Do you have any good programs for teaching them cursive? I've been looking for a program to teach children cursive. I see gaming as time wasting though. Yeah, I don't love it, but if your child's going to be doing it all the time, what I say is channel that interest. So like when I get like 10-year-olds that are interested in Minecraft and stuff, like I start them on a Microsoft program that uses Minecraft to teach computer coding. So we start with that. Once they get the basics of computer coding down through that program, we start them with a one-on-one tutor to learn computer coding. Then we have them start building out websites, right? So like, and then like once they do that, when they become like 17, 18 years old, because they know the coding, we have them approach local businesses and offer to build their websites, right? So like, you can do pretty complex things, but it's easier with like coding's like something that takes years to develop. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe start a trade or sell. All right, so like, yeah, he could start a system where, you know, basically he maybe creates a website or uses like Facebook Marketplace to start getting video games for cheaper and flipping them for more money on like eBay or the Facebook Marketplace. So like that's a good idea, and it's like a basic entrepreneurial thing that they can do. So like then you teach your children the concept that they could get something for cheaper and flip it, and as they start to like making money from doing that, then you could start to teach them like, well, did you know that if you go to Target or you go to Walmart and you go to their clearance section, right, you can pick up items for really cheap, put them on eBay, and then you can sell them for more money. And there's people that earn a living. I know people that do great. I have a friend that makes a ton of money doing stuff like that. He goes on to, is it Craigslist? Craigslist or eBay. They have a section, and Facebook, where free stuff, where people are giving away stuff for free. He picks up the free stuff. He then reposts it on the same platforms for money, and he flips the free stuff for money. So like there's so many cool entrepreneurial type things that people do. You want to develop that mindset in children where they see opportunities where other people do not. Yeah, I mean, right, obviously, ideally, we don't want our children gaming all the time, but if they're going to be doing it, you could channel that to teach them skills and to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, so just do it. Hi, baby. This is my daughter's outside the window just with a big smile. Hi. Are you waving? Hi. Babe, you see this? Hi. You guys see her? How's my little girl? You guys see her waving? 7 months old. She started waving this week. Hi. 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 I love her. I love it. So yeah, anyway, follow their interests. But so I had the privilege of working with all these families, and then I built out my private homeschool community, Homeschools Connected. And now 2022 is, by the way, I don't believe in debt. So like, you know, I've had the ability to take out a bank loan and then pay developers to develop curriculum for me, right? That's how these businesses operate, but then you get owned, right? Then they own you. So I've been building from the grassroots level, and now I've built to the point where 2022 is going to mark the year of original classical learner curriculum, and I'm so excited about it. And I woke up this morning and I spent the morning building out this curriculum. Well, I'll get into that. First and foremost, starting January 6th, I am teaching a Foundations of Propaganda class for elementary middle school level learners. Because I keep it, the concepts are so complex that I could keep it very simple and it's very valuable. So I could teach it for elementary school as well as middle school level students. But I'll be using the Cubs to Bears book series, The Bear from Jekyll Island, Free Speech, Social Media, That Word, and the First Amendment, The Peanut Trap, Operation Mockingbird and the Church Committee, which is the congressionally documented history of fake news using Charlotte Mason-style living history, The Right to Bear Arms, not so much You Are What You Eat, or Good Bears Always Tell the Truth. Those are different stuff, different category. But using these books to teach children the foundations of propaganda, and I will be teaching them how music moves your emotions and can alter your perception of something you watch on television, or how a partial truth. Early in the book, we see this picture of this bear, and the news roosters report he's trespassing at a private duck pond, right? That's an up-close picture. And then later in the book, we're shown the wide-angle picture, and he's not trespassing, right? He is a repair bear. And he is at the duck pond because a pipe burst, and he's there to fix it, right? But a whole narrative can be created around that partial truth, right? The different logical fallacies, all of this different stuff. How in The Right to Bear Arms, Charisma Cat uses social shame to get the animals to give up, the mountain lions give up their teeth, right? Because they have shame that they have these weapons because there has been events, right? And they give up their, social shame is used to get them to surrender their liberty voluntarily. Or in free speech, social media, you know what, and the First Amendment, Stand Up Bear calls out the Saving Puppy Center, right? The Saving Puppy Center. Oh, it's so sweet, right? Stand Up Bear comes, he calls that out. He points out that the Saving Puppy Center is letting coyotes adopt kittens and puppies. It says, so Stand Up Bear comes in, he said, bunnies, puppies, things that moo, coyotes turn them into stew. How can animals be such dupes? Coyotes just want piglet soups. And Stand Up Bear got many laughs because my jokes are hilarious. Right? But then they label him a thought criminal and he can't do stand-up comedy. So then he takes his message to the Blue Mountain Birds, right? The Blue Mountain Birds. And they carry his message as far as you reach. Carry my message with tweets. But then the news roosters, they label him anti-bird, right? And then he's not allowed to send those tweets anymore. So we learn how derogatory terms or labels are put on people. And then those labels are used to discredit people's arguments without actually hearing their arguments, and actually to remove them from the public sphere of conversation so that people can't hear their arguments, right? These are the mechanisms of propaganda, and this is what I'll be teaching starting January 6th. All members of my private homeschool community will have access, and that's a course that I'll be teaching for elementary and middle school level learners. And then there's something else that I've been working on that I'm actually more excited about than the class, which is kind of crazy to say because I'm excited about the class. I'm going to get into that. I just want to read your comments. My child thrived in her reading and critical thinking while gaming. Okay, can you tell us more about that? Because I think there's parents in here that would benefit from the knowledge you have. That is PupDub86 said her or his child is their child is thriving from the stuff she's doing with the gaming. So tell the parents in the chat whatever you're doing. Do homeschool communities acquire teachers as freelancers? Yes, they do. And can you email me at classicallearnertoday@gmail.com? I'm actually going to be giving teachers that have been fired because they stand for liberty access to my community so that they could actually start to connect with the members of my community. And then, what you guys work out, whatever you guys work out. But it's a way to connect those people. I think that's a really cool thing. So I'll give you as a teacher free access to my community. And then if there happens to be people in your area, you guys can work out what you work. Yeah, obviously it's a big country. I don't know if you'll be near anyone, but if so, then I'd be happy to help facilitate that. You would add value to my community, right? Because now my members could have access to you, and I would add value to you because you would get access to potential customers, right? So when I see opportunities like that, I say that's a win-win-win, and I want to connect these people because that's how we build grassroots systems, right? They want us to look to their systems. They want us to say, public school is your option. They want us to say that the grocery store is your option. Don't grow your food, right? They want us to say that if you want a house, the bank is your option, right? But no, we can, right? If you're going to take out a loan, take it from your parents and pay them back monthly, or take it from, or live within your means and downsize. They want us to rely on the system, right? But we can live outside of that system, but it starts with building these grassroots systems. One of the companies I love right now is Gab, because not only are they building a free speech platform, but they are actually building up payment processors so that people, freedom-oriented businesses like my own, aren't reliant on Stripe and MasterCard and Visa, right? These are systems of control. These are systems of coercion. And there are systems being built by freedom-oriented businesses like my own, which are enabling the everyman to take their power back. And we take it back through what we build. We take it back through our lifestyle. We take it back through tradition. Thank you for that, Rose. We take it back through tradition and through embracing family and personal responsibility. Again, classicallearnertoday@gmail.com. Email me. I'll give you free access. Just remind me in the email because I get a ton of emails. And so if I take like 2 weeks to get back to you, it's just because I get a volume. But remind me in the email that you're the teacher that I told to email you, and I'll give you free access to the community. So I'm teaching that class, and what I'm more excited about, and I've been building out this curriculum, and today I was really like, sometimes when you're working and you're kind of stuck, and then you kind of have a breakthrough, and you're like, what a time to be alive, right? Like I was cruising this morning building out this curriculum. So every week throughout all of 2022, I am going to be delivering original classical learner lesson plans to the members of my curriculum. And I'm going to be putting together a curriculum that you can do with your high schooler, your middle schooler, or your elementary level learner, and I'll have, different level, like I'll have levels of complexity. Like obviously there'll be more stuff you can do for your high school student within that assignment, right? But it's going to be centered around nature and learning about where we are and where we are in relation to the sun and how the sun is a clock, right? And how understanding the systems, how it relates to our connection with the earth and gardening and planting seeds and the stars, right? Like I'm building out this original curriculum, and I'm going to be using it to prompt children to think critically, to develop skills like gardening, like sketching, like drawing, like photography, like videography, like construction. These like engineering. El Mello in the house, how you doing? One of my favorite people and one of my mods. To develop skills, and then within that 12 months of lessons I'm talking about here, within those 12 months, I will be prompting entrepreneurial experience into this unit of study that I'm putting together for the children. And so all of that's what I'm rolling out in 2022. All members of Homeschools Connected, my private homeschool community, will have access, and that is $10 a month with if you use the discount code TOGETHER or the discount code PROPAGANDA. So I'm very excited about what this year brings. I have built my business up. It's a freedom-oriented business from the grassroots level, and this is the start of where we really change the world, because this is the start of, now I'm building out that original curriculum. I'm creating those original classes, and it's already, the value it's going to be providing over the next year is immense. And now I have a path where 3 years from now, I can provide so much value to homeschool families and to people that just want to educate their children better. And I can do it for, right now it's $10 a month. You get in at $10 a month, I will never raise the price on you. So if your child is 5 years old and you get in at $10 a month, when your child is 17 years old, your price will still only be $10 a month. And over the next few years, as the price will rise a little bit, but I'll still be able to give people the tools to fully educate their children for what will probably wind up being like $25 a month over the next few years. So my life has taken me in this direction, and to build this business from the grassroots level and to see, thank you for that, Rose, I really appreciate that, and to see how it's building and now where it's going, and this vision that I originally had starting to come into fruition is such a powerful thing. Kimberly, thank you so much for that. It's www.classicallearner.com. That's www.classicallearner.com. Classicallearner.com, and when you get on there, you'll see it says Homeschools Connected. You click on that, and that's how you join. The first class, the propaganda class, I'll be teaching the first class January 6th, and starting the first week of January, I'll be delivering these lesson plans all throughout the year. We are going to be building something. By the way, I'll also be providing bonus lesson stuff. I'm only promising the one lesson weekly, but I'm actually already building out other ancillary stuff that I'm really excited about. So I'm so pumped about it. Especially like some of the stuff I'm building out on the side is like insight into institutions, which is so important. Like teaching high school level students media literacy, right? Like this stuff is really important. Teaching high school students how to understand the medical industrial complex. Like why has everything since March of 2020 played out the way it has? Well, when you understand the mechanisms that are used to control the you understand why. I just have to be careful. You guys understand what I'm saying. When you understand the mechanisms that are used to control these institutions, you understand why these narratives play out the way they do. And it's like, that's why you see people, they can't put their head around it. Like, what is everything a conspiracy? It's like, a conspiracy is just when people get together and plan to do something, right? Of course, everything's a conspiracy because there's always people planning to do things, right? They're just getting together, they're planning to do things. And then the real question is, how do they carry it out? How do you get everyone to go for it? Well, the way you do that is through authority, right? And through financial leverage. So when you control, I'm not going to use the medical industry to talk about this for obvious reasons. So when you control, like when your 6 corporations control 90% of the mainstream media, right? Well, you could understand, and 90% of the media, the television shows, then you start to understand, it looks like there's this variety of choice, but like ESPN, ABC, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they're all controlled by the same small handful of people. So you see why the agenda plays out the way that it does. And then you have these centralized authorities. So like, I don't want to use the medical field. So when the field of education, for example, so many teachers are great teachers, like they care, but they're doing a disservice to the students because the education they get of how to educate children and what a good education is coming through the universities, and the universities are controlled by centralized educational bodies. So the education that all of the teachers or all of the doctors are getting is being controlled by that centralized authority, right? So they're actually controlling human consciousness, right? And the centralized authorities, they're saying it's backed by data, but it's paid for, right? Data can be paid for, right? You, for the right price, they can get whatever results you want, right? So it's like, and that's not saying that all these people are corrupt. They're not. In fact, the majority are really good people, right? And they're just operating at a different level of consciousness. They're operating at a different frequency. And when I say frequency, what does he mean? Some people wouldn't even be able to hear what I'm saying. They would get emotional, and it's that, like, they say, how dare you? How can you say this? How dare you? Because I'm operating, I don't like to say a higher frequency, because I'm operating at a different frequency than them, right? Just like you tune a radio channel, well, this is human consciousness, and they don't want, again, these concepts are very foreign to a lot of people, but hey, Bumblebee, little Bumblebee floating around me. So these are the type of things that I'll be introducing to members of my private community, to their children, and teaching them how to understand these things, how to track the money, right? Where is the leverage? Where is the control? What are the logical fallacies, right? What is a straw man argument, right? What is a red herring? What is an appeal to authority? What is rhetoric? What is rhetoric? So that's www.classicallearner.com, and Homeschool's connected. Can I ask, are you a believer in the Bible, New Age, something different? I am a follower of Jesus Christ. That's what I say. I like the Bible. I do. I would say I follow the Bible, although, in my opinion, like the Council of Nicaea and just different translations and it being passed around over time, it has been changed over time. Things have been taken out of the Bible, right? As a general guide, I very much like the Bible, and the way I try to live my life is I do believe Jesus is Christ, and I attempt to, rather than like be churchian, I attempt to follow Jesus as best I can. And like, what does that mean? It means I have to be a really good husband, and it's my responsibility to be a leader and to lead my family. And for people that get triggered, that does not mean I'm abusive and I do not beat my wife or tell her what to do. It just means I lead by example. I work really hard. I make sure that my family, they always see me putting them first. They know I put them first. It's leadership. I do put my foot down where I think I need to, where I say that it is my belief that in my following of Jesus, that taking on debt is a really bad thing. Like, I don't want my family in debt. I think usury is a really bad sin, right? So because of that, I try to put my foot down on things like that and say, I think we need to live differently than that. We can't be in debt. We can't fall for the trap of materialism and usury. That I need to be fruitful and multiply. That we've had 2 beautiful children, and I pray to God that we have as many children as we're supposed to have in this world, that he blesses us with. That I love my neighbor, love thy neighbor. That I go out of my way to help my neighbors. That if my neighbor calls me today and needs help, that I'm willing to drop what I'm doing. Like, a couple of weeks ago, my neighbor, his car broke down, lives a few blocks away. He called me up, and it was 8-something at night, and I'm putting the children to bed. Calls me up and says, hey, my car broke down. I'm stranded with my wife and the 2 children. Well, I dropped what I was doing, got in the car, and I went and got them, right? Or probably a month and a half ago, actually during one of the streams, I got a text from another neighbor of mine who needed me to go pick something up with him. And again, I dropped what I had planned for the rest of the day, and we went and did that. But that is biblical. That's loving thy neighbor. That is, right, love thy fellow man. Like people think religion is worship. No, like Jesus is the last image Jesus wanted his apostles to have of him was Jesus down on his knees, cleaning their feet. He knew he was going to die. Right? He told them. He said, I've been betrayed, right? He said, one of you, paraphrasing, one of you sold me out, right? That one of you will disavow my name 3 times. Someone that someone that Jesus loved, someone that was loyal to him, right? Someone that was loyal to him. He said, you'll disavow my name 3 times, and I'll still love you, and I'll still forgive you. And the last image of Jesus was them. Sorry, I'm getting choked up. I'm talking about Jesus. The last image of Jesus was them down on his knees, cleaning their feet. And as the Roman soldiers, as they were stringing him up to a cross, and they were killing him, he said, Father, forgive them, because they know not what they do. Forgive them. Jesus wants you to forgive. He wants you to have compassion. That's when I talk about, like, when I say, like, people operate on different frequencies. Like, I know most doctors aren't bad people. They're just operating on a different frequency than I am. And I don't even call it a lower frequency because I don't like to sound pompous. But, but they're operating on a different frequency. Well, Jesus, think about how he communicated, right? He didn't tell people this is the way it is, this is God, right? He spoke in parable. He spoke in story. Because when you speak in story, that transcends the frequency that people operate on, right? That's a very powerful thing. So those are my beliefs on Christianity. Those are my beliefs on Christ and Jesus. And those are my beliefs in faith. And I have the utmost respect for people of all faiths. I have the utmost respect for I call them my Islamic brothers and their faith. And I've read the Quran. I think it's, in spite of what the media will tell you, I actually think it's a beautiful document. And when they talk about Jesus in the Quran, every time they say his name, they say peace be upon him. And they call him a prophet and say he is one of the greatest human beings to ever live. They just have a different interpretation of the world. And, people come from different places and different backgrounds. So, those are my beliefs on faith. And that's what's up. Yes, amen. Yes, yes, beautiful. Where do I find more people like me? Go to the Bertaria Times app. It is... it's only, as we say in the Bertaria Times app, it is only the good, the true, and the beautiful. So it's not like we don't talk about, there's no politics. Like, we don't talk about politics on the app. It's just people posting about their farms and their homestead and their faith and their families. Like, every day on that app, you see people posting that they've had new children, making a baby announcement, an announcement that they're getting engaged, or that they moved on to a new homestead, or asking advice about farming. Like, it's the good, the true, and the beautiful. Everyone should be on that app. That's where you want to be. And for single people that want to meet a really based, moral person that they can settle down with, who values family and rejects hookup culture and all the grossness in our society, like, that is... Bertaria Times app even has a singles area where people have met and been married. So I love what's going on with, what they're doing over there. That's what I love about my state. The majority of us would drop what we were doing. Yeah, that's where I am. There's so many good people here. Who is this Jesus fella? Thank you so much for sharing. All scripture is inspiring. Yes, it is. So, anyway, guys, so that's my journey. That's where I've been that's been the last 2 or 3 years of my life. Probably, as my wife will tell you, probably working 15 hours a day for years now. I'm at the point now where I'm literally sleeping I sleep for 5 hours a night at most. I probably slept 4 hours last night because I'm utilizing all the time I have to run my company. But it's very important to me that I attempt to be the best father I could possibly be. So, one of the things I'll do is I'll spend time, a few hours with the children and the family during the day. And then what I'll do is I'll work from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. But it's been a journey, and I'm blessed to be able to do that. I've been blessed to have the health to do that and the family support to do that. And, so that's what I'll keep doing. So, all right, guys, www.classicallearner, www.classicallearner.com, my private homeschool group. Homeschool's connected, promo code together, promo code propaganda, $10 a month. And you could find me everywhere on Classical Learner on Instagram, Classical Learner on Bacteria Times, Classical Learner on Gab. Everyone should be on Gab. They're building some really cool freedom-based systems there. Classical Learner on Minds, that's another alternative. I'm on MeWe, although no one's ever responded to anything I posted there, so I don't quite get how MeWe works. Classical Learner on Twitter. I think I'm at Classic Learner, on Twitter. Someone took it. Whatever. So, all right, guys. Freedom isn't free. We have to earn it every day. And I will undoubtedly be back Friday for my Friday question and answer to earn it. All right, guys. God bless.